Guys, I'm Kat from Wandering Bird, the motorhome travel website where we share tips and tricks for touring the UK and Europe with your motorhome or camper van. Today I've got a treat. I'm interviewing two guys who sold up everything and moved full-time into their motorhome, and I'm really looking forward to sharing the chat that we did with them. It was fantastic and there's so much useful information in there. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, hi, welcome. By all means, give us a thumbs up and click subscribe. We'd love to have you join us on more videos in the future, and if you click the little bell, you'll get a notification when we put out a new video about motorhome travel or touring the UK and Europe. Most of our information is found on our website, wandering-bird.com, and we've got loads of checklists, guides, tips, ebooks, and all sorts of other things to help you get started, make the most out of your time on the road. So today is quite a long episode. I've tried really hard not to make so long episodes recently because my internet here is atrocious. But it was too good an interview to cut it down, and just the amount of information and knowledge that they shared was brilliant. So we are talking with Pete and Bridie from Shampers and Campers. All the links to find them will be in these video notes. They have a podcast, a motorhome travel podcast, Shampers and Campers, which is fantastic, and they start talking all about the different aspects of life on the road and their story and things, so definitely go give that a listen. You can also find them on Instagram and follow their journey as they continue to tour the UK and Europe when appropriate, of course. So without further ado, here is the chat that we did in the Wandering Bird membership group. And we did that live so that the members who happened to be free that day could come and ask questions and chat to Pete and Bridie, which I think they all thoroughly enjoyed. But here is the replay for you to enjoy and learn from their experience. I hope you enjoy it. So, hi Pete and Bridie. Welcome to Wandering Bird. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing really, really well, thank you.
Really good, thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to talk to you because you guys live full-time in a van now, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I say motorhome, van, motorhome. Tell me a little bit about how that got started, how you guys ended up living full-time in a van, whose crazy idea was it?
We can't quite agree on this, can we?
I think we kind of fight over whose idea it was at the beginning.
Because now it's so good that we're both trying to take credit for it. I thought it was my idea.
And I thought it was my idea.
So...
yeah, we just say we agreed together that it was quite a good idea. I think we just jumped into it. So I think in the August sort of time, we started maybe thinking about getting like a little T5 to help Pete with work because he travels around the UK quite a lot. So we kind of went and started to have a look at them, and then we realised that they were a little bit too small for, like, he couldn't have a shower to go into work and things like that. So then we started sort of looking maybe a little bit bigger into the motorhome side, and then the month later the house was on the market. And we had bought one.
Yeah, we literally walked into the motorhome showroom, stepped into it and went, you know, we could live in this. And then that was it, we just went for it.
Yeah.
Wow, so did you already own a home? Were you already living together? Were you kind of established in a house, or was this like your first home together?
Yeah, lived together, owned a home.
Mm-hmm.
We were quite happy with it, but I was working away a lot, all over the UK. Well, in fact, I worked as far as France, Croatia, Italy, Spain, all over Europe as well. And I specialize in holiday parks, and I do health and safety for the park industry. And I'd get up in the morning, get to the airport, fly somewhere like up to Edinburgh, get an Uber up to a holiday park, do my work, and turn around and come back again. And the whole time I'd be with wardens and other people that were like living and working on park, and they'd be so happy. And I was like, I'm running around like a lunatic all the time. And I used to joke, didn't I? I used to say, like, my little hashtag for Instagram was working 5 till 9, not working 9 till 5.
I like that.
And actually I joked it was a little bit longer than that. Like, I'd normally be up around about 4 in the morning, get home at 10 at night, you know. It just, and then doing this was just, I felt like we got control of it, like got control of our lives a bit, you know.
Awesome. So do you remember having that first conversation together of like, shall we live in a motorhome, and like it going from there, or was it just something that just sort of happened one day?
I think it just sort of happened, didn't it? We're the kind of people, well, especially Pete, once his mind is kind of set on something, like 9 times out of 10, no matter what it is, it will be done sooner rather than later. So after being with him for so long, you just sort of that. So there was no point in arguing. But as soon, no, like you said, as soon as we started thinking about it, my goal ever since, well, forever, I've always wanted to go traveling. We've always wanted to be more financially stable, and we just wanted more of a stress-free life. So as soon as the original idea kind of cropped up of going, is it doable to actually live in it? It was just the week later, we were like, it would be easier. We get to travel, we get to save money, works for your job. And we just convinced ourselves into it so quickly that it ran very smoothly, didn't it?
And what's the worst that can happen? You buy a house again.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the way that we looked at it.
Get to go traveling, get to go exploring, tell a good few fair stories, and then if you get bored of it, you can pack it up and keep the van as like a holiday, can't you?
Yeah, just for the weekend.
So did you sell your house or get rid of your house and all your furniture, or have you rented it out, or what have you done?
No, so I have another house. So I'm quite lucky. I was one of those greedy second homeowners, but no, I've moved for work. So I had a house up in North Wales, and then I had to move down to the southwest for work, and it just wouldn't sell. So I put tenants in it, and they've been in there so long now, I sort of feel bad asking them to leave. By the way, I hope they're not watching this. Fine, you guys are fine, don't worry. So I didn't want to rent out another house. Like, it was a reasonable option, but I never wanted to be a landlord in the first place. And as far as the stuff went, when we were kind of like considering going full time, we were looking at all the stuff, and we priced up the storage box. Storage box was like £1,000, £1,500 a year, and I was like, right, well, there's that set of shelves that I bought for 30 quid. I'm going to really pay £1,200 a year to store them. You know, does it make any sense? And so when we kind of went through, it was an easy decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, I think it's also that moment of one of the reasons that we didn't get a storage container or unit was, I think we sat down one night and we just went, right, what's in the attic? And we both just kind of looked at each other and we were like, I have no idea. It's like, but how long has it actually all been up there? And we were like, okay, good, like 2 years now. So that would be the exact same situation for a storage unit. We would just put it all in there, forget about it, and then 2 years later, or whenever we finish doing this, you get back to getting the stuff out the unit, and you wouldn't want half of it anyway.
We did the same thing when we downsized and moved into our first boat. We paid for storage unit for about 1.5 years, and then literally we got it all out. We're like, oh, we're just going to sell this. It was an absolute waste of our time and money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was definitely a lesson learned for us with stuff, wasn't it? I don't know, do you ever watch that Storage Wars program on TV when they walk around the container? When they bid on the container and they walk around and they pick up items and go, this has got to be worth at least $5. Like, when we walked around our house, I was pricing everything up that I paid for it. Oh my God, like, we got back nothing. No. Like, when we sold everything at car boot sale, you take stuff to car boot sale that you would pay like £50 for, and you'd say, oh, just give me £1, and someone would haggle you down to 50p, you know, like, now it's made me realize that not only did we not need the stuff, I'm now very reluctant to buy any other stuff, you know.
And you also know to go to car boot sales if you ever need to refurnish a house again.
100%.
That's true, yeah.
Cool. So did you have the van when you decided to live in it, or did you go and buy one, did you say?
Bought one. So the funny thing is, before we decided to live full-time in a motorhome, we had never holidayed in one. We had never gone in a little T5. We had never done anything like that. I think we went camping once.
What did I take with me?
When we went camping, he took port.
I took my decanter of port and some little crystal glasses. I was like, this camping thing sounds hideous to me.
So that's the kind of people
and it rained the whole time.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, it's just so simple and straightforward, isn't it? And so much less stress.
Yeah, but it is mad to consider that, no, we had no experience with motorhoming or anything like that. We literally just jumped into it wholeheartedly.
And loved it.
I'm impressed with that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So, I don't even know which follow-up questions. I've got about 17 follow-up questions for that one. Let's go with why you picked that motorhome.
Ooh.
This
Which
is
one
our
have you got
second-
actually? Sorry.
Yeah, this is our second motorhome.
Okay.
So we originally had a chasson, didn't we?
Yeah. What was it?
610?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chasson 610. And we got it because it had such a huge garage on the back.
And a massive wardrobe.
And we had all this stuff that we had to store.
It's the
So
attic.
we would go with the one with the big garage on the back, but it made the living space so much smaller. And
Yeah.
it's the one with the bed that comes down from the top in the middle.
So it was literally, you'd have the living area and the kitchen would then turn into the bed. Like the bed would drop down from the top. So at the beginning, we loved it. We thought there was no problems with it whatsoever. Unfortunately, we had a bit of manufacturing problems with the actual motorhome itself. So that one had to go back, and luckily we got our money back from it. And then that come towards this one that we're in now, which is the Rapido
8094DS.
Yes, I think
The
I think
big
that might be
A-class
right.
one.
One bigger.
Yes. And the spec is completely different. So I think if I could give anybody a tip for wanting to get a motorhome, it's definitely look at the layout a lot more, because
Take your time.
Yeah, we've gone from having a huge garage, a huge wardrobe to store all of our stuff, to one now that the bed's above the seats in the front and the back is a complete lounge area. So obviously we have Molly, the Labrador dog, with us, she's a pretty big girl. So now we have actually space for her, space for us. Like Pete's an early waker, whereas I'm not, so he can get up in the morning and make himself a cuppa and go and sit down.
This was the problem with the other one. So I'd get up at like, I don't know, say 5:30 in the morning, like roll out of bed, and then I'd have to put Bridie up against the ceiling while she was still in bed to get on with work.
There's a couple of times where I woke up and didn't realise and whacked my head on the ceiling.
So we kind of, now we have a lot more space, you know. I can now go and work in the lounge at the back and close the door, and
Yeah.
That's exactly the layout that we've got on a smaller scale, but having that two separate areas is just superb. You're a couple kind of, and you need that extra space.
yeah. And I think the fear with the bigger van is that people say, well, you won't be able to get it anywhere, you won't be able to park it anywhere. Actually, we've not really had a problem at all. I mean, if you're in a motorhome, if it's got a height barrier, you're not getting in. This one's no higher, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we're 7.49 metres long, 2.3 wide and 2.8 high.
Oh, you're not that
So
bad.
No,
considering,
not at all.
but the space inside is phenomenal.
Are
Absolutely.
you under 3.5 tons?
No, we went. Well, again, that's interesting. So yeah, we had a bit of a disaster, didn't we? Because the last one leaked
Yeah.
and had to go back, and the dealer were phenomenal.
Yes.
But obviously, once you reject the vehicle, you can no longer use it. And we'd gone full time, so we were like in this weird limbo. And then the unit that we picked, the Rapido, is it's above 3.5. So and because I got my license after 97, I had to go and do my driving test. So I did my driving test, I think, on the 19th of December.
Yeah.
And we picked up the van on the 20th.
Wow.
And as like I'm going around the driving test route, the guy's talking to me, and he's
like,
talking
"Just
to. He was a
stop."
caravanner, so he's well into it. But I was like, please don't talk to me honestly, because if I like nip a curb or something, that's it.
And I need this license.
Yeah, if we don't have this, we have nowhere to go for Christmas.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, there was a lot of pressure coming up to Christmas, wasn't there?
Oh no, I can imagine that would have been really stressful. But you did it, and it's all good.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's go back a few steps, because you mentioned Molly, your adorable Labrador.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old is she now?
12.
Yeah.
12. I keep overaging her, and Bridie tells me off.
Poor girl.
So she's
Well,
12.
so how is she adjusting to van life?
She loves it.
Loves it.
Is she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she loves it.
Interesting.
It's mad. So we obviously promote van life completely because wholeheartedly we love it. But even down to Molly, she's lost weight, she's got fitter, her coat has got better. She used to have like these little lumpy bumps, didn't she, bless her? And they've all gone down. It's bizarre. It's like the world is her garden, literally. So there's nothing for her not to love, really.
It's like she never has to wait for us to come home as well, because we're always at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She doesn't have to protect a huge house because she's just here.
Yeah.
And every day she's in the countryside, and it's just beautiful. So yeah. And I said as well, like we think that like dogs feed off your stress. So as like I'm stressed about work and I'm traveling loads and I'm like, oh, I've got to get up at 4 a.m. Like I know that the dog can tell, whereas now we've got so much less stress that she's pretty chilled, I think.
Yeah. I think the one thing that she has taken a while to get used to is the small space in the table. Sometimes she'll lie underneath our feet and she forgets that she's a little bit taller and she might get up and bump her head a couple times, bless her. But she is getting used to it now. I think if we walk past her, all we have to do is be like, go on, mind your bum, and she'll sort of get up and stroll off and get out of the way. So she's got used to it very quickly.
Oh, fantastic. And what about leaving her? Do you ever leave her very long in the van, and how is she with that?
We're trying to get used to it. We went out yesterday for a walk, and if you know, it's really hot yesterday.
Yeah.
We obviously can't take Molly with us, you know, because it's too hot for a blesser at her age. But in the van, it's really well insulated. I'm still a bit worried about it, but on park, we just left all of the windows open, so there was a nice draft going through, and then we put the blinds up on the side that the sun was on, so it keeps the direct sunlight out. We went out for about an hour, I'd say, come back, and it's still super cool in the van. Like, it never gets too hot.
But it's very rare that she'll be in here by herself.
No.
It's normally one of us is in here, like, shopping-wise, especially at the moment. Like, Pete might pop shopping, and I just normally stay in the van, really. And it's the same with whenever Pete works. Again, I'm in the van with Molly. It's a very rare occasion that she is left by herself. But with the times that we have, I think she's a bit of a guard dog with me, but not as much as she is with you, is she?
Vice versa.
Or vice versa.
She protects you and I protect her.
Yes.
So
if Pete's out and someone comes to the door, she'll start barking. But if Pete's in and I'll knock on the door, she kind of just looks and she's like, oh, yeah, it's all right.
That's really great.
But no, we were going to look at aircon.
Yeah.
But we just want to sort of go through a summer and see how we get on first and see if we need it. But so far, we haven't needed it, really.
Yeah, touch wood.
Yeah. Hopefully. In the UK, you'd probably be okay.
Yeah.
It's just if you go to Europe and go further south that I would have preferred aircon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're probably going to, I think, like we had this discussion with you, we're probably not going to take Molly to the south of Portugal in August.
No.
You know, we're probably going to dodge it, go there in September, October, you know, because she just won't enjoy it. So. Yeah,
the advice that when we were chatting about it was we don't go like to the beach or the really hot sunny places when it's in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
It's too hot for Mac. I think when he runs around like a crazy thing. So we tend to go up in the mountains in the summer and then to the beaches in not like October time. Come back, which I think is a bit kinder for them because they just struggle pulling themselves down, don't they? Or unlike Mac, he'll just find any bit of water he possibly can to soak himself into.
That is Molly to a T as well.
Really? She a water baby?
Yes, yeah, very much so. No matter where you walk, she always managed to find a trough. And it's
always.
Yeah.
It's just madness. Yeah. And it's normally just you're about to get back in the motorhome.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, come on.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to get them together at some point. That'd be hilarious. So you guys haven't been to Europe yet, have you? Is that right? Or so you've been to Europe in the past, but just not in your motorhome?
Yeah.
Not in the motorhome, Cat. Don't rub it in.
Yeah, we were supposed to. I think plans, obviously, for everybody at the moment have sort of changed due to lockdown. Yeah. We were supposed to be heading out in April. We had about 4 or 5 weeks planned of going from France to Bruges and then to Belgium and to Amsterdam and then sort of wander our way back. And we had Portugal booked in October. Yeah. So a couple plans we had, unfortunately, have been postponed. They haven't been cancelled. They've just been postponed for now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, you'll love it when you get there. And when you get there, it'll be awesome. It'll be well worth the wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's talk a bit about the practicalities of life living in a van in the UK. Do you guys tend to do wild camping? Do you use campsites? Do you stay in one place? How does it work for you?
You go for this one.
Really?
Yeah.
You can do the ones. A bit of both. What we do try and save money where we can. Ultimately, our goal is to go traveling. So if we can save money, we will do. So we try to wild camp for say 2 nights and then go and stay on park for 1. We like using independent parks. We like using CLs and CSs with the 2 clubs, and it tends to be pick a site as close to my work as we can. But what we find is that if we go and stay on park, it allows us to drain waste, fill up with fresh water, and wash our clothes, do our laundry, and then we'll go and try, if possible, to wild camp for a couple of nights. Now, how that works in the summer, I don't know, because we haven't really been in the van through the peak of summer. And speaking to everyone, like on the park that we're on now, they're saying, oh, you won't get a booking in certain places in the peak of the summer.
Come to Europe.
Yeah, but
don't even bother in summer.
I know, but that said, we the other thing that we'd say is avoid wild camping on a Friday and Saturday night in a beautiful car park in the middle of nowhere, because it will be full of boy racers.
Yes.
2 in the morning, and they will wake you up. So we try and stay on a park on the weekend as well. But midweek, we never have an issue wild camping. We've never had an issue anywhere at all. Like, nobody's ever woken us up. There's never an issue. And as long as we're clean and tidy, we don't make a mess.
No.
And we've never had a problem.
And have you ever had a problem with things like getting rid of waste or emptying the toilet or refilling up with fresh water, anything like that?
Yeah, it's
a couple times. I think, like we say, we tend to try and stop off for park midway just to make sure that we are filled up. And we do tend to drive with a tank quite full of water just to make sure we've still got enough on board. But worst case scenario, if we are wild camping for a couple of nights and can't find anywhere, we have used like public loos quite a lot. So as soon as you drive past, you're like, right, stop off in there and try and like make sure you go, so you don't have to fill anything up too much.
Scotland was bad, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because we were in Scotland in October and all of the parks were closed. Like, we were so shocked. There were so few parks open that that you could be driving miles and miles and there'd be no parks anywhere near where you wanted to go. I think on the Isle of Skye there was one park
open in the Isle of Skye, because it's all off season, so a lot of them were shut. There was a beautiful park in Glencoe that was lovely. But Scotland was a bit of a mission, because again, we're the kind of people that just jump into stuff. We don't massively plan, so we were like, let's go to Scotland. We kind of got up there and we were like, oh, it's off season, nothing's really open.
Which was great. Like, it's nice and quiet and peaceful, but like you say, when it comes to the essentials like dealing with waste, it was a lot harder. So
how did you deal with that then? If the campsites were shut, what options were open for you?
It's difficult. I've heard about the airs in Europe again, where there's just like waste points on the side of the road. In the UK, there is nothing. No. There is nothing. There is, public loo, and that's it. So until you can find a proper site.
So how did you get fresh water when you were up there?
Petrol stations.
Oh yeah, no, I think we did fill up in a petrol station once.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time was on park.
So we would drive to, literally we just drove to Skye at one point.
Use less water.
Just try. With being in the motorhome, you become a lot more conscious on certain things, so it was kind of a moment of, let's skip the shower, just put a bit of dry shampoo in and put your hair up.
What do we do without dry shampoo, honestly?
I know. And like, wash your hands, your towel in the water a tiny bit and sort of do that. It's just very, very simple, and we do a lot. We don't tend to drink out of our tap water anyway. We tend to just use that for washing up and for showers. So we'll get like bottled water or something like that. Or if we come to a drinking point, we can then fill up our water bottles. So we tend to do quite well without running out of water. Normally our tank can last us a good 5 days, maybe a week at a push if we're really, really careful with it.
Yeah.
Very good. Awesome. And okay, let's talk about security. If you're wild camping, have you ever felt concerned about yourself, your security? Did you take any measures to protect yourself?
No,
it's surprising. There's been a couple of times where we've actually got into bed and looked and gone, oh, the door's not even locked. It is surprising. I know, it's really bad. We probably shouldn't say that.
And then next week we're going to park up here and here and here.
Just give us a location of where you're going to be for the next 6 months.
We're pretty relaxed, really.
Yeah, I think Molly's a good one for security, because it is a case of if there's noises or someone's outside, she'll start to kind of bark a little bit, and that deters a lot of people. The only time I think we were wild camping once, and we got out, took Molly out for her to go to the toilet, and she just went really strange, didn't she? And she wouldn't settle. She was just like tail pointed, looking very alert. Got back into the motorhome. We kind of put the kettle on, and she just was pacing up and down, whining. So we were like, right, let's kind of move on from here.
Yeah.
So she sort of tells us whether we're in somewhere that she's not comfortable with, and other than that, we kind of just go with what Molly thinks, really.
But if we wild camp, like one of the last places we wild camp was down in like Pembrokeshire way, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Before lockdown. And there was like a little car park on the beach with a little honesty box that you put a few quid in or something to stay there. You're in just like the most beautiful location in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing menacing about it. You know, like when I say wild camping, we'll only stop if the places are beautiful and it's nice to wake up in the morning.
Or if we really just need to crash, and then it would just literally stop, sleep, and then
But we'll
on.
never stay like in a motorway services or on the side of the M5 or something. Do you know what I mean? Or in the middle of a city, we just wouldn't do it. So the locations where we are, you never feel unsafe anyway, you know.
Awesome. That's cool. And do you do much sightseeing? Like, do you visit a lot of cities and stuff, or do you tend to stay away from those?
Yeah, we do. We took out our National Trust memberships, didn't we?
Yes, yeah.
We've done a lot of the National Trust sites because they are just stunning. And we've done a couple of cities. We went to Edinburgh. We've had nights out in Edinburgh and Cambridge because Bridie still likes to go to nightclubs.
Like to get him out and about. You've got to have a bit of a dance every now and again.
We tend to stay on park then, and then we'll just get a taxi into the city. So yeah, no,
it's nice because we do have a bit of a mix, because we like the sort of like hiking, going out for really long walks, but then we do like the opposite and just going and having a bit of a city break and going in and going and have a cup of tea and not having to worry about finding shops and stuff. But I think if I had a favourite, it would be more the nature side. It's nice every now and again because you just by yourself, and it's really lovely to be like quite close to nature, and then after like a couple of weeks or maybe a month of doing that, you're like, no, I need to see more people now, and then you have a bit of a city break.
Fantastic. In fact, there's probably a really good time then to talk about lockdown. So how have you guys dealt with that? Where have you been? How has it been for you living in a van full time?
Well, I'm going to do a shameless plug here, but our podcast about our lockdown experience just went live.
Which is awesome, by the way.
Just went live an hour and 6 minutes ago on our podcast, which you can get on every major music. Now, joking. But yeah, we have had a really harrowing time of lockdown. There's no doubt about it, and it's not necessarily because we're in a van. Like, actually, we're pretty happy because we're in the van. It's just been really difficult because of the circumstances, and so it's taken us a while to put the podcast out. You know, because we were kind of going through it. In fact, we're on one of the Caravan and Motorhome Club sites now because they can accept people who are full-time. You know, and we clearly haven't just made it up. You can see our journey all the way through on our Instagram. You know, it's that would be quite an effort just to stay on a park. But even today, the police were on site here again. Yeah. You know, because locals keep phoning up the police saying there's someone in a van staying on a park. So, and we've had that a lot. Yeah, it is that moment where it's trying to like, it's not a persuade or just show people that we live in our van. It's not like we're driving around because we want to go to the beach. We should have been in Europe now. Yeah, we haven't even, I think, well, we've been locked down now for over 2 months and we haven't driven anywhere to go for a walk. Like, it's just not worth risking it. If we're on site with Motorhome stays here, it's not worth moving it. Yeah. But I obviously work, like the lockdown has started to lift. We've got to get on with work. So we've had to now start taking the van out to go to work. And to be honest, on the whole, we haven't had a problem. Everyone seems pretty fine in the UK, no matter where you go in the van. But there were the odd occasions where you drive and people be waving at you. Yeah. At the beginning, it was like nasty waving, whereas now you see another motorhome. It's like friendly waving. So no, it seems to have calmed down a bit now, which is quite nice. But lockdown has been quite difficult. So we'd have gone to go and stay with family, but my family were isolating, so we can't go and stay with them. And Yeah, it was difficult. So in the end, we had to rent a cottage, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which kind of started to eat into our budget, of course. Then we've come to park, and now we're at the time now, because the park here don't necessarily want us coming and going all the time to go to work. They're like, well, look, because every time we come back, the police follow us off.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to get on with it now, because at some point you've got to go back to work, haven't you? We've got to have some money so we can get traveling again. So.
Absolutely. And so is that how you guys are funding your life? You still working, Pete, is that right?
Yeah, so I run a business specialising in health and safety for hospitality and leisure. So I do all the hotels and holiday parks and everything like fire risk assessments, that sort of thing. I've been doing a lot of work with the COVID guidance nationally.
Yes,
so I wrote the guidance for the National Caravan Council for coronavirus and how they're going to reopen the parks. That was quite difficult because I wrote that about a month ago, and we're still no clearer as to how it's
really?
happening.
I'm going to say, do you have any insider tips for us? But maybe not.
No, nobody knows, do they? Until Boris does his announcement, we don't know what's going on. But yeah, no, I still work.
Yeah.
But not full time, and that's the other thing, because we don't need to earn as much money now. Like, this life doesn't cost as much. So I can reduce my work right down, which is nice, and we can actually enjoy our lives a bit more.
Yeah.
What do you guys do over, like, things like insurance? Where does your mail go to? Do you have an address that you use as like a home address?
Yeah, parents.
Yeah, his mum.
Yeah.
So everything just gets posted there, and then every now and again we'll get a photo of just it stacking up and up and up, and
yeah.
So after lockdown's lifted, we've got a lot of posts to go through by the looks of it.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
I know.
Awesome. One more quick one about very important practical van life living. And what do you do about television?
Oh, mate, we got the best TV setup ever.
Yeah.
Oh, what have you got? Tell us.
So we've got one of those little 12-volt cello TVs, which we should have actually probably got a bit better TV, to be fair. But we've got a Roku, like a little Roku adapter thing.
I've never heard of that. What's
I think it costs like 20 quid on Amazon, and
brilliant.
you can get all of the streaming channels. So we've got Netflix, Now TV,
ITV Hub.
We've even got the Disney Channel now,
Yeah,
because I got it free with my
Plus.
phone. And then we've got the Motorhome Wi-Fi aerial on the roof of the van, and we have unlimited Wi-Fi, and it's obviously boosted up to a good Wi-Fi signal. I think that costs us £20 a month.
Yeah.
So it's a damn sight cheaper than what we were paying for our broadband at home.
Oh yeah.
You know, it costs us nothing.
I don't think we've ever had a problem with using it, really.
No.
Because our Wi-Fi booster boosts our signal so much that even when your own phone is struggling to get 3G or 4G, it normally boosts it enough to be able to get a signal.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. That thing was called ROKU, Roku, is that right?
Roku, yeah.
Okay, awesome. And does that work in Europe, do you know, or is it just for the UK?
Not entirely sure.
I don't know, Kat, because we didn't make it to Europe.
Well, we'll find out when you do.
Yeah, keep tuned and we'll let you know. But...
Coming back in 6 months' time.
As soon as we know, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think it does. I can't see there being any reason why not.
No.
I think it should do.
But we're people that, to be fair, the TV doesn't really get turned on in here.
No, if we did make it to Europe, we probably wouldn't be watching too much TV.
No, we sort of just like sitting and having a game of cards at night. It's just quite nice.
We got through a fair few box sets though during lockdown, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's just a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay, let's do some fun ones. What is your favourite thing about living full-time in a motorhome?
Oh.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah,
do you want more time?
I'll let you go first.
We'll do one each, shall we?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
I've been thinking about this for a little while, but I still can't quite put it into words. It's the feeling that you get every morning. You open the door. Most of the time you're in a new place and you feel much more grounded and in touch with, I want to say nature, but it's not quite as simple as that. But you feel like your life is a lot more simple. You're in a lot more control of it, and you're in a new place all the time, and it just feels great.
That was a really good one. Oh.
Was it?
Yeah. Okay, for myself, probably meeting people. I think ever since I've been small, I've always lived in the same little village and little town where everybody's very friendly to each other. I can remember going to university in Lincoln and it being very, very different, and so we weren't so friendly. But living this life it's just, people are amazing. Like, everybody is so friendly. Like, you always have this perception that it's kind of like you get stuck and people would just kind of drive past and not really help. But my experience is the complete opposite. Everybody is more than happy to help with anything that you ever have. And even down to the point of we spent Christmas on a park down in Padstow, which is an amazing park.
Yeah.
And we ended up spending the whole of Christmas with our neighbours in the motorhome, because they were just brilliant. And we ended up like sharing Christmas dinner and having maybe a few too many bottles of champagne. And
yeah,
it's just the people that you meet, friends for life, it's unbelievable.
So people who are worried about maybe being lonely or anything as they're travelling, do you think that's something, or any tips to kind of combat that?
Well, I don't think it will happen.
No, I don't think
it's very rare. As soon as you go to park, everybody says hello. It's even down to the point where normally you have like the same wash-up station. So you'll be washing up your pots and pans, and then you just start chatting to the person next to you, and then you're like, oh, I'm having a barbecue later. Do you want to come over? And it's like that everywhere I have been. I haven't been to a site yet where people just keep themselves to themselves. Everybody's just come over.
Yeah.
Not.
Awesome. Okay, so conversely then, what is the worst thing about van life? And the worst chore? What's the thing you hate most?
Okay, the worst chore would have to be the flies on the screen when we're driving.
Oh yeah, because we've got such a big windscreen. Yeah, it's like driving a bus, isn't it?
Oh, that is such a pain. And when you clean the van, like everything else cleans really easily, but they are such a pain to try and get off. That's a frustrating one for myself. That's just the cleaning side. Worst thing so far, the fact that we have a Labrador who loves rolling in mud, and we have cream leather. So that can be a bit of a pain sometimes. She'll literally walk in from her walk, shake, and everything has gone from beautiful white to brown. Yeah,
that is a pain.
So sort of she gets in, you have to cover her with a towel and try and clean her as much. So that's probably my worst thing, but that's just because we have a muddy dog, isn't it?
Mm.
What about for you?
I'm desperately trying to avoid saying the toilet, because everybody's in the toilet, don't they?
Like the walk of shame in the morning, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, it is a difficult one.
Yeah. I don't think there is very many bad things. It gets to the point where we're sat here trying to think, and it becomes really trivial stuff like the dog is muddy or you have to empty the toilet, because on a whole, it's not bad.
Yeah, if your only stress in life is, well, I've got to get up today and empty this toilet, compared to what our stresses were like before, then
it puts stuff into perspective.
Pretty phenomenal, isn't it?
Absolutely. Do you miss anything about having a house, living in a house?
Oh yeah.
Having a bath.
Definitely having a bath. And obviously, when lockdown happened and we rented a cottage, we were in there for like 5 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And the cottage was really nice, actually. It had a hot tub as well and everything. I would say I miss having a hot tub, but we didn't actually have one in our house. But yeah, we did have a lot more space. There is a lot more space, and it's pretty phenomenal. You could fall out about something and go to a separate room.
I'm getting to that. I am going to get to that. How you deal with that shortly.
Whereas in a van, you're like,
Ooh.
This is about as far apart as we get,
And you can't really satisfyingly slam the door either to show that you're really upset.
No.
Pull a curtain across really angrily.
No, but yeah, I mean, we did actually really enjoy being in the cottage for a bit.
Yeah.
And it actually took us a little while to get used to being back in the van, like how we move around each other and things. But the fact of the matter is that before lockdown, I think we'd had a period of really bad weather. We'd been in the van for quite a long time and hadn't managed to get out. We just rented a cottage for the weekend.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful cottage. I think we got a deal on it to rent it for like 120 quid or something for this
3 nights.
Stunning cottage in the middle of nowhere for 3 nights for £120. I mean, if that's what you've got to do every so often to get a bit of bricks and mortar, then, and that's the worst that it is, then it's fine, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So how did you find winter? Obviously you said that you had really bad weather, and I think, was that February when the NEC was on? Because that's when we were over and it was just miserable.
Just a bit before, I think a couple of
Yeah.
months before, it was Storm Kiara, I think, and then straight after there was another storm. And it got so bad at a couple points we had to park the motorhome facing the wind because it was battering the side so much that we actually got quite nervous a couple points that it might tip over.
Yeah.
But so to be fair, I think with having a dog really helps, because no matter what the weather is outside, you have to get out. You have to get out, you have to walk her. And we're quite hardy people. I think it's like, if it's raining, oh well, get out, go for a walk. There's been a couple months where it's solidly been quite bad weather, but yeah, you just sort of power through it. And it's bizarre. At the beginning, I can remember sleeping in the motorhome for the first time and it was raining. And I was like, I am never going to be able to do this. And now when it's not raining, I kind of miss it. But it's something really nice and soothing about lying in something so warm and cozy, hearing the rain and the wind outside, and just being quite safe and secure. It's really nice.
Awesome, that's a really good answer. Go on then, let's talk about arguments and how you deal with disagreements and how you live in a small space as a couple and don't kill each other.
Got close.
Yeah.
Close doesn't count. Close is fine.
To be honest, I think we work really well as a team. So that's first off, like even down to the point of stupid stuff, like say if Pete's doing the washing up, I'll do the drying and then I'll pass him stuff so we don't get in the way of each other. Like, we've worked a really good rhythm out with each other within the van. Arguments wise, sometimes they happen after a little bit too much of a drink.
Yeah.
That's probably our worst cause for having an argument. And then it is that moment where Pete normally be like, I need to go to bed, and I'll be like, I'm going to go for a walk. So he'll either jump into bed or shut himself in the back room, and I'll just walk out. And then it gives you that second to just calm down, and then you walk back in, and then you're probably like 9 times out of 10 it's been like, what was that about? So I think biggest tip for arguments is just take a second just to breathe, because as soon as you're away from each other, you'll be able to process it and go for it in your own head, and then you can come back and actually discuss it. And it is always take that moment and discuss what has happened, because if you don't, it will just fester and it will get worse and worse. If you want to live full-time in a van, you have to be really open and really honest with your emotions.
That's a really good answer. That is a really good answer. Okay, last big question for me.
Oh, I was going to say one more thing.
Oh, go for it.
We were speaking to the wardens the other day, and they said their training for being wardens is if they're starting to have an argument, they'll take hold of a tea towel, and whoever holds that tea towel is allowed to talk. And you can't talk unless you have the tea towel, because obviously on park as well, you don't want to raise your voice because you're not that far away from people can hear you. So that's also a good tip. Just make a wooden spoon or a tea towel, just don't end up beating the other person with it.
But if I may, if you think about like what arguments are actually about, they're normally about the usual things like finances or work stress, have to work because of finances, and they're normally induced by stress as a result of one or two things. Actually, when you don't have that, we don't tend to argue. No. Like we really don't tend to argue quite as much.
We tend to sometimes, when you have such a stress-free life, you sometimes have to find little stresses just to make you feel a little bit more normal. So it will be moments when we're driving and I necessarily haven't got the right route, and then we'll start getting a little bit like aggro with each other.
Yeah, we do argue about that.
Yeah.
Navigation
is the worst.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who drives, who navigate? I'm guessing Pete drives.
Pete drives, I navigate.
Awesome. Do you have a proper sat nav, or do you do it off your phone, or how do you navigate?
Google Maps, which is not great. I think we need to look into maybe a proper like motorhome height restricted sat nav, because there'll be times where it's like this, I'll be like, oh yeah, just turn right here, and the next minute we'll do it, and it just gets smaller and smaller, and you can see him kind of getting more irate, and then I'm like, I'm sorry, but we can't turn around. Then I'll have to get out and try and back him out of the way, and so navigation can be a bit of a trouble.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So okay, Do you guys think that you'll stay in a van for forever at the very long time, but let's say for the foreseeable future, or is this like a short 1, 2, 3 year thing and then you think you'll get a house again? What's your plan for the future?
Stay in the van.
Stay in the van. It's a bizarre one. If you asked us that question after 2 months of us being in the motorhome, we would have said 3 years. And then if you asked us this question like 6 months ago, we'd be like 5 years. And now we're like indefinite. Until we get bored or until we find somewhere that we're like, that's where we want to be. No, there's no timeline whatsoever.
Yeah.
And do you think, and I want to touch wood here because I'm certainly not wishing that on anybody, but do you think if ill health or anything happened, you'd change your mindset on that? Is this only something that you do when you're fairly healthy, or do you think it wouldn't matter too much?
It's interesting, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, ill health is very linked to stress as well, isn't it? You see a lot of people that get ill health. It depends what type, obviously, it is, and stress can make the symptoms far worse. And actually, so we've got a lot less stress. But I think it depends on what it is, really. When we saw that question, I said, well, your life can be flipped upside down with ill health, and whether you're in a house or not, like, you're not sure. But no, I think we'd carry on doing this because I feel like we're in control of our lives a lot more now and where we go and what we do. Whereas before, I felt like the house and all our stuff and all the debt that goes along with having all the stuff was kind of holding us back, and it was that was dictating our lives. Whereas now I feel like we're in control of it now.
Yeah, and I think it is that moment of, if, just say Pete or I did get ill, would I rather be ill in a house or ill in a motorhome where I can have different views and I can have that? It is a beautiful way of life. And I think for myself, I'd pick to be in the motorhome because you can. It's just, it's so much more free. It really is.
Fantastic. I think that is a wonderful, wonderful place to end it. Thank you very, very much for your time. Have you guys got anything to add?
If I may, if you guys or anybody watching this, we would love it if you could maybe give our podcast a listen.
Jumpers and campers. I'll put the links in the video notes and everything so people can find you guys. And you guys are on Instagram as well, aren't you? Is there anywhere else you can find you?
No,
that's it at the moment. But we just like any sort of questions, or anybody, if they ever kind of want any more info, then feel free to give us a message. We're happy. We're quite unbiased. Well, we are quite biased because we love this life, but we're happy to kind of be really honest and upfront with it.
Awesome. We'll come back and do this in 6-12 months time and see how you guys are getting on.
We would have been abroad by then, so
You will. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you think of it. What I'm going to do now then is I'm going to open up for everybody else. We've got a question from Linda that you guys can answer whilst I'm unmuting everybody. Is who is your Wi-Fi with, and what do you think of it?
So we've got the aerial from Motorhome Wi-Fi, but I think there are quite a few other providers out there. I think the aerial and the boost is around about £299 for it. It works really, really well. And you put a SIM card in it, and I think the SIM card for unlimited is £20 a month with Vodafone.
Yeah.
And if you're ex-services in any way, so if you're ex-military or ex-police, ex-NHS, you can get a discount card. And that discount card, I think with Voda, is like 25% off.
Yeah. Really, really good deal.
And as well, another top tip, ex-services, ex-police, ex-NHS, whatever, and you get either a blue light or an ex-forces card, you get, I think it's 25% off at Go Outdoors.
Yeah.
We get all our like blue lube from there, all our gas cylinders, a whole lot, and it's all discounted.
And you can also Go Outdoors card as it is anyway, so you get a little bit more.
Are there any other questions that anybody would like to wave your hand or something so I know you've got a question? Okay, let's go with Andrea. Did you have a question?
I did, yeah. Oops.
I keep doing that.
Why not?
Trying to stick it. Solar panels. Do you recommend a solar panel? Is it important to have one?
Yeah. If you want to do wild camping, take a little bit of more money, I strongly suggest it. Yeah.
But there's some interesting bits about the solar panel. I won't get really boring, but we've only got quite a small one on this that came with the van. I think it's 120 watts.
Yeah.
I won't get too dull. and we've got one leisure battery, and I don't think it's anything fancy. It's just a bog standard cheap one that came with the van.
Right.
That's fine. Like that is absolutely fine for us.
We've never had a problem with it.
But like for instance, depending on what the van's heated with, say it's heated with like I think the last one, the diesel heater, it needs the electric to kick in. So without having anything, like without having anything at all, you're not going to get the heating to run through the night.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't run on electric, if that makes sense.
Right. So you'd recommend one to sort of top your leisure battery up?
Yeah.
Do you have any aspirations to stay off-site at all ever, get a solar panel?
Really? Oh yeah. It's just we put a deposit down on our van yesterday, and he was like, no, it doesn't really make any difference, solar panel, because it doesn't sort of top your battery up. It only maintains what you've already got in your leisure battery.
No, it doesn't. It tops your battery up.
Tops it all up.
Yeah.
Right.
So if your leisure battery is sort of like, say, half after while camping for a few days, would it top it up to like 40?
And about 100 watts.
120.
120. Yeah, I mean, the bigger you go, doesn't mean you're going to get more power necessarily. You've still only got the same amount of sunlight.
Yeah.
It means that oh God, here she goes. So in my video that we just did, my husband explained it beautifully.
No, it was just, there's the inverter that you need to sort of charge your phone as you're going along as well. He was saying you can just plug that into your mains power. And I was thinking, one of those. You've got to have an inverter to convert your 12 volt to 240 volt. Plug it
In the front of your cab, you'll have those little cigarette sockets.
Yeah.
You can charge your phone and your iPad off those.
Yeah.
Not a problem. What you can't do is plug your normal wall phone charger.
I know what he was talking about,
No, and it doesn't sound like he knows what he was talking about.
Well, I knew because we lived on my boat, like you did. I'm au fait with that sort of concept, really. And I thought, you just know what he's talking about.
Ignore what he said and go with everything else.
On that note, can I just ask a question then? So actually, I was going to ask something else, but while we're talking about solar panels, would you go with the rigid ones, or I know there's some flexi ones, is there as well?
We have a rigid one. What have you guys got?
Rigid one as well.
Go rigid. But while I've got you guys, so I bought mine in December and it arrives tomorrow finally. But mine's a Swift Escape, but I've gone for the drop-down bed. And obviously I've just heard what you guys said. Although to be honest, predominantly it'd be me and the dog travelling. But yeah, so I was just wondering, did you find the drop-down beds worked for you then, or are they not a great concept?
What time was it? Is it the kind of one that literally drops down from the ceiling from mechanisms, or is it like a pull down?
No. It's a Swift. It's the same as Cat's, actually, the same as the one in Cat's front. So it's a 6-metre van I've gone for with a decent sized bathroom at the back. So yeah, it sits above the main living area, and then it's not electrical because it's Swift. They've gone sort of a push the button and pull it down,
which is good.
So so that was the question. Is there sort of an issue with the concept, or was it just because you were having to get up early and go to work and such? And
literally just getting up and going to work. There was no issue with the bed itself. It worked really well. And if it was just me and like Molly in there, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
I think just for our way of life with Pete kind of waking up earlier, or like just little bits like that. Otherwise, I'm happy to sort of like lie in bed and put on TV and have a cup of tea, but he'd rather get up and sit down properly. So
she's saying that her life's not perfect with you in it. You know that, right?
I know.
Molly, way over you here.
No, that's cool. And you also talked about the TV. So that Roku, which one did you get? Sorry, I missed that. Which package have you gone for?
Roku literally just lets us add the packages, so you can add like Channel 4 and stuff, and then you can download like Netflix, Now TV, Amazon Prime, and the Disney Channel, and we literally have them all. Actually, we're going to have to go through and minimize them again.
Yeah,
Bridie wants to watch something, and then I have to like sign up to it again. So yeah, we've got like literally every channel that you can possibly get on it. So.
Is that a stick that goes in the TV?
Yeah, basically.
You need the a TV with the USB.
Yeah, you need a TV with USB, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
brilliant.
good point. Good point.
Yeah, no, just my question was gas low. Is it worth getting the gas low system fitted as opposed to the, swap the bottles? Because
I know my opinion, but Pete and Bridie, do you have an opinion on that?
We're currently trying to. We were supposed to pick it up just before the lockdown, so we are currently trying to convert over, mainly because I think in the long run it's going to be a lot cheaper to be able to use.
And Europe.
The one that we get has multiple adapters to be added onto it, so we can fill up anywhere and not have to worry.
And in the UK, is that easy to fill up in the UK as well?
So what I always say is if you're staying in the UK most of the time, you don't need refillable gas bottles. And it's almost harder to have that fitted in the UK because so many garages are getting rid of it.
So
if it helps, guys, sorry, I've gone for it, but I've also, just to follow you, I've got a 6K propane as well. So I've got a mixed choice.
I was going to say, can you do 1 and 1?
Yeah,
I have.
I've got room for 2 bottles, so I could do. Right, okay.
But if you're going to spend most or a lot of your time in Europe, it's cheaper in the long run to get it. If you're not sure yet, I wouldn't even worry about it. I'd stay with refillable, exchangeable bottles.
Yeah, okay. It's just I just thought it might be cheaper. That was all.
It will.
Just trying to keep costs.
We reckon we've made the money back in about 7, maybe 8 months, but then look, we're in Europe and we use it all the time.
Yeah. Where in the UK can you refill? Is it just literally garages, or is it not all garages? Or
no, so it's not all garages. We used to Shell. There was a Shell garage near us where we were based down in Portsmouth that had it.
There's a list online. I think it's something like you search or something, and they list all the petrol stations.
Oh, right.
But there is quite a few, Linda.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have a look.
There are still places that do it, but they are getting fewer, which means that you have to drive to get them. But people still use it for vehicles and things, so they're not going to get rid of it completely.
Yeah. Just want to try and do it as cheaply as possible. That's.
Can I just ask, someone mentioned CLs and CSs before, and I don't know what they are.
Take it away, gang.
So there's the 2 main clubs, isn't there, in the UK? So you've got the Caravan and Motorhome Club and the Camping and Caravan Club.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the Caravan and Motorhome Club definitely have more of them. I think they've got 200 main parks, but then they've got a couple of thousand, like, really small parks. And they're normally at like the back of a farm or something like that, and they've got 5 pitches, somewhere for waste and somewhere for freshwater and hookup, and that's it.
Some of them are next to breweries as well.
There's one that's next to a brewery. That's our favourite. And yeah, literally they cost you like on average about £10 a night, something like that.
Some you can get between 5 and max. I think we spent on a CL once was about 14. They're really good value for money, and they literally most of them don't really have showers, but obviously you can go hook up with electric, sort yourself out, fill up with water, and everything like that. So they're really good.
They're the closest things to airs that we've got in the UK.
Oh, right, I see.
So they're not free, and you've got to be a member of the club to get the access.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because, like the guy said, instead of paying £30 a night, you're paying a tenner.
Yeah.
Are they open at the moment, any of them, or still none of them?
I assume they would follow the same rules as the main campsite, so I would have said no.
Yeah,
No.
everything's closed.
Yeah, but I paid the membership and haven't been able to use it. Just to say, I did listen to your podcast with the dog about the pets one the other day.
Awesome, thanks. That's awesome.
It's very good. It's very good. Yes.
If you guys like podcasts, theirs is fantastic, and it's going to get better and better.
Theirs is the first one I've ever listened to, so there you go.
Cool. So we've converted and
Brilliant. That's awesome to hear. Thank you.
Awesome. Has anybody else got a last question before we go?
Do you all have a dog?
Yes.
Everybody who's got a dog, put your hand up.
Sure.
Right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all very much for coming, and a huge
Thank
you
you.
to Pete and Bridie for your time and your. It was awesome to chat to you. Really enjoyed it, and all of your knowledge and expertise.
Oh,
Brilliant.
I loved it. It was nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You.
And
Thank you very much.
very much.
No, it's fine.
Thank you.
Take care,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
Wasn't that good? There was so much amazing information there, and thank you so much to Pete and Bridie for sharing their story and their tips. And I hope you guys got as much out of it as I did, and I think the guys on the call really enjoyed it as well, which is great. Don't forget that you can follow Pete and Bridie at Shampers and Campers, both on their podcast, which is so good. Definitely worth a listen if you're interested in motorhome or van life. And the link to that is going to be in the video notes, and you can also find them on Instagram, Shampers and Campers, and again I'll stick the link in the video notes. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love it if you gave us a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please do, and you can click the little bell to be notified when a new video comes out. If you want more tips about motorhome travel, life on the road, how to rearrange your life and go off travelling in a motorhome or camper van, then head to our website, wandering-bird.com. There's loads and loads of information on there to help you get started and figure out what you need to do next on your adventures. If you want to join our membership group so you can get access to these sorts of chats live and you can talk to us and ask as many questions as you need to, the link to that I'll also leave in the video notes. Our membership group is not always open, we only open it in certain windows, but you can click the link, and if it's not open at the time that you click it, then by all means click waiting, and I'll let you know the next time that the doors are open for new subscribers. Again, it was absolutely lovely to talk to Pete and Bridie, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you very, very soon. You stay safe. Bye-bye.
We are out. We're talking about a good time. We're chasing every moment, all the good nights. We're always looking out and it's a good life. We go